Bruchim haboy, welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Zayin Amud Beis, 6 lines from the bottom, from the 2 dots. The Gemara brings back a statement in regards to a Reshus HaYochid. Gufa, Amar Rav Chisda, Noatz Kana B'Reshus HaYochid. If a person sticks a stick into the Reshus HaYochid, V'zorak v'noch al gabov, and a person throws an object from the Reshus HaRabim onto this stick, which is stuck into the Reshus HaYochid, afilu gavoya meya ama chayev. Even if the stick has a height of 100 amos, the person who threw that object onto the stick from the Reshus HaRabim is going to be chayev. Because a Reshus HaYochid goes up all the way into the rakia, in contrast to the Reshus HaRabim, which is limited until asara tfachim. Says the Gemara, Lema Rav Chisda, the Omar Rebbe. Let us say that Rav Chisda, who authored this statement, that a person who throws an object onto the stick from the Reshus HaRabim onto the stick that is situated in the Reshus HaYochid, is chayiv, even though the stick is not a place of dalet adalet tfachim. So let us say that he says like Rebbe, the Tanya, Zorak v'nach al gabe ziz kol shehu. If a person threw an object onto a ziz, he threw an object from the Reshus HaRabim onto the ziz that was the Reshus HaYochid, or dalet amos in the Reshus HaRabim onto a ziz. Rabbi mechayiv v'chachamim poitrim. Rabbi says chayiv, and the Chachamim potrim. A ziz, by the way, is a tree that grows out from a wall. So Rebbe says that even though it lands on the ziz, which is a small place, less than dal tfachim, that's still enough to mechayiv a person for the hanacha. So let's suggest that Rav Chisda goes like Rebbe. Now the Gemara suggested the same exact thing on Daf Daled Amud Beis, and the Gemara rejects it, like it's going to do over here. And I want to explain the Gemara like we did there. But the Gemara in front of us is slightly stated differently. So I'm going to just run until the second line, because the first line is not what we have over there earlier. And it says, Amar Abai Kedir Reshus HaYochid de Kuli Amalo Pligi de Rav Chisda. Let's put that in parentheses. Now go, Elohacha bi'ilan ha'oimei b'Reshus HaYochid v'noifoi noitel Reshus HaRabim v'zorak v'nach agufoi. The Gemara says now that, no, the case of Rebbe and the Rabbanon is a different case altogether, because Rebbe and the Rabbanon are speaking about where the Ilan, the trunk of the tree, is in the Reshus HaYochid, and the branches are out in the Reshus HaRabim. And therefore, if a person were to throw from Dalet Amos, from the Reshus HaRabim onto the branches, so there, the reason why Rebbe says it's chayif is because the branches go after the trunk. And since the trunk is Dalet al Dalet, so it's considered as if he threw it onto a place of Dalet al Dalet. Says the Gemara, the Rebbe Sover Amrin and Shadi Noifoi Basar Ikaroi. Rebbe is of the opinion that you throw the object, the branches rather, it's considered to be goes after the trunk. And therefore again, the branches are considered to be, although they're situated in the Reshus HaRabim, but they're considered to be a place of Dalid al Dalid Tfachim. Rabbanan say you don't say that. You don't say that the branches have the same status as the trunk in regards to the Dalid al Dalid. So it would come out, according to this, that the Gemara is saying that you have no proof that Rav Chisda goes not like Rebbe or not like Rabbanan, because Rebbe does require Dalid al Dalid. Only over here you do have it because the branches go after the trunk. That's how we explain it on Daf Daled Amud Beis. But now I want to explain to you how the gear says in front of us. Amar Abaye B'Reshus HaYochid de Kuli Amalo Pligi K'de Rav Chisda. Abaye is saying that according to everybody, both Rebbe and the Rabbanon, that you do not need a place when it comes to the Reshus HaYochid to be a space of Dalet al Dalet. Elohacha bi'ilan ha'oime Reshus HaYochid V'noifoi noite l'reshus harabim, v'zorak v'nach an noifoi. Here we're talking about a situation where a person threw an object from the reshus harabim onto this nof. And the nof was situated in the reshus harabim, and the trunk was in the reshus hayachid. So Rebbe says that you go after, the branches go after the trunk, and since the branches go after the trunk, and the trunk is situated in the reshus hayachid, then this person made a hachnosa from the reshus harabim, throw it onto the branches, as if the branches are in the reshus hayachid. The Rebbe Sover Amrinan Shadi Noifoi Basar Ikaroi, since you threw the object onto the noif, and the noif goes after the ikara, the trunk, which is in the reshus hayachid, it has a din that he threw it from reshus harabim to the reshus hayachid. V'Rabbanan Savri Lo Yamrinan Shadi Noifoi Basar Ikara. We don't say that, but it comes out over here that you do not need a space when it comes to reshus hayachid that is dalid al dalid tvachim, just like Rav Chisda. Says the Gemara weiter, Omar Abaye, a new case, Zorak kaveres l'reshus harabim, gavoya asara, ve'ena rachva vav. If a person throws a kaveres, literally a kaveres means a beehive, but it's referring to here as a wicker basket that has the same look, same oval shape as a beehive, and it has the dimensions of asara tfachim, less than arba tfachim wide. If a person throws that from the reshus hayachid into the reshus harabim, so he's going to be chayiv because he was moitzi, because he was machnis, or in this case he was moitzi rather, from a reshus hayachid, an object to the reshus harabim, in this case the kaveres. If it's rachva vav potter, however, if the width of this kaveres, of this oval-shaped wicker basket, was 6 tfachim, then he will be potter. Why? Because then it has the dimensions of a reshus hayachid, and a reshus hayachid is considered to be a reshus on its own, and therefore if a person threw an object which is a reshus to another reshus, we don't have a precedent that's going to be chayiv, because our precedent is from the Mishkan. And the Mishkan only had situations where a person was throwing an object from one reshus to another reshus, but not something that is a reshus on its own. So therefore he would be potter. Now, that which it says that it has the dimensions of asara tfachim high and 6 tfachim wide, is, we said, a dimension of reshus hayachid, because since this wicker basket is oval, we need to find that it contains within it a square of dalid tfachim. And in order to do that, we have a reshus hayachid to be 4 tfachim wide. And since the oval, the circle around it, to contain a 4 tfachim wide square, we need to have the dimensions of each tefach wide to be a tefach and 2/5 of the circle around it. And therefore we take 4 times 4 times a tefach and 2/5, we get 8/5. 8/5 comes out to be 1 3/5. If we add it to 4 tfachim, so we have a total of 5 3/5 tfachim. If you round that, we get 6 tfachim. And that's what we're saying over here in the name of Abaye, that you have a height of 10 tfachim and a width of 6 tfachim, then it will have the din of a reshus hayachid, and it would be potter when you threw that from the reshus hayachid into the reshus harabim. My taimo. Oh, sorry, that's the Gemara. Now the Gemara says, Rava Amar afilu eina rachva vav potter. It doesn't have to have the width of 6 tfachim wide. It will still be potter. My taimo. What's the reason? After all, if it doesn't have the width of 6 tfachim, then it's going to be a regular object, and you're throwing it from reshus hayachid to the reshus harabim. So why would it be potter? Says the Gemara to explain, Iefsha lekrumiyus shel kana shelo yalu lamala me'asara, because it's impossible that the wicker basket doesn't have part of its the part of the basket that is sticking above the 10 tfachim of the basket itself. Part of that wicker is going to then be above. They weren't exactly on the edge, but rather it would stick above the height of the basket. And since it will be above the height of the basket of 10 tfachim, then it will be higher than the Rishus Harabim. And since you don't have the entire object of the wicker basket inside of the Rishus Harabim, it's not considered to be a chiyuv. In order to be mechayiv, you have to have the entire object in the Rishus. Says the Gemara, kafa alpi, another scenario, if a person were to take the kaveris and then turn it over, so that the svat of the kaveris, the lips of the kaveris, the opening would be face down, and then you would throw it into the Rishus Harabim, Shiva umashu chayiv. If it would be 7 and a little bit more tfachim, it would be chayiv, because then it would be considered to be in the Rishus Harabim when you threw it. However, if it's Shiva umechsa potter. Why? Because since we have a concept of lavud, lavud is halacha lamosh Sinai, up until 3 tfachim from the ground is considered to be closed from the object to the ground, from the mechitzos specifically rather, to the ground. So too over here, if you have mechitzos of this kaveris that are now being thrown down, the object is being thrown down, and the mechitzos enter the airspace that is above the 3 tfachim, so therefore the kaveris is not entirely into the Rishus Harabim, then it's considered to be resting above the Rishus Harabim, and it'll be potter. Rav Ashi Amar afilu shiva mechzachav, he argues and says we don't say lavud over here. Why not? My taima mechitzois letoichan asuyos. Since the wicker basket have walls, those walls cannot be turned over and being used for lavud. It has to be on its right side up because it has walls to be containing things within those walls. So you cannot use the wicker basket in a scenario where it's then on its opposite side and then say lavud. Says the Gemara, a new case about whether we consider to be an object in the Rishus Harabim has the din of Rishus Harabim or not. Omar Ula. Amoid, if you have an amud, a pillar in the Rishus Harabim, and it's tisha, it's 9 tfachim high. Rishus Harabim, v'rabim mekatfim alav, and people who are traveling in Rishus Harabim, they take off their packages from their shoulders and they readjust them by putting them onto this pillar, onto this amud. V'zorak v'noch al gabov, if a person were to throw an object, let's say from the Shus HaYochid onto this amud, chayiv, he would be chayiv because the pillar has the designation as a Rishus Harabim. My taima, pachas mishloisha midras drasi le rabim. If it's less than 3 tfachim, it's considered to be part of the Rishus Harabim because people are trampling on it. Mishloisha va'adet tisha loy midras darsi le v'lo ketufei mekatfi. If it's from 3 to 9 tfachim, people who are traveling Rishus Harabim, they don't put their objects on this amud, and therefore it has a separate designation. If it's 4 amos, that is wide, 4 rather tfachim wide, then it has a din of karmelis. If it's less than 4 tfachim, then it has din of a makam petur. Tisha vadai mekatfin ilave. But if it's 9 tfachim, then it certainly is going to be used by people who are traveling because they want to readjust their packages and they put it onto this amud of 9 tfachim. So it has a din of Rishus Harabim. Guma mai. What would be the din of a guma if you have a hole in the Rishus Harabim? What would be the din if it was 9 tfachim deep? Now we learned from a brisa earlier that if you have a charitz 10 tfachim deep, so it has walls around it, it has a din of a Rishus HaYochid if it's 4 tfachim wide. So what about this guma? If we have a guma, it is dog that is a hole in the Rishus Harabim, is that considered to be part of the Rishus Harabim or not? Omar lei v'chein beguma. Similarly, also by a guma, it would have the din like at the amud that is a Rishus Harabim. And therefore, if a person threw an object from the Rishus HaYochid onto this guma, and it would go onto this hole that is 9 tfachim deep, then it would be considered to be that he threw it onto the Rishus Harabim, it would be chayiv. Rava Omar beguma loy. Rava argues that by a guma, not. It's not considered to be part of the Rishus HaRabim. My time, what's the reason? Tashmish ayidei hadechach lo shmei tashmish. Unlike the Amud, where people who are traveling, then they fix their packages and they put it on the Amud and it's convenient. Therefore, it's considered to be part of the Rishus HaRabim. But the guma, which doesn't have a convenient usage for the people who are traveling to put their things in it, therefore it's not considered to be batel and part of the Rishus HaRabim. Esei Rav Ada bar Masna leRava. Rav Ada bar Masna asked Rava from the following brisa. Haisa kupasa munachas Rishus HaRabim. If a person has a box on the Rishus HaRabim, Gavoya asar rachva dalid, the height of asar tfachim and the width of dalid tfachim, which is the same dimensions of Rishus HaYachid, then ein metaltalin lo mitoicha leRishus HaRabim v'lo miRishus HaRabim letoicha. You cannot then take an object from there, from that box, out into the Rishus HaRabim, because they'll be moitzi from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim, and not vice versa. Pachos mikan. However, it's less than the asar tfachim. Let's say 9 tfachim, metaltalin. You could do so. V'chein beguma, and similarly by guma. So you see that what? It's considered to be like a Rishus HaRabim. That indeed, the guma is just like this box. If it's 9 tfachim, then you have the same din. And therefore, be part of the Rishus HaRabim. So the kasha on Rava, who said that a guma 9 tfachim high, 9 tfachim deep, is not considered to be Rishus HaRabim. My lava seifa, aren't we talking about the seifa here in this brisa? And therefore, again, a guma of 9 tfachim deep is considered to be part of the Rishus HaRabim. Answers the Gemara, no, lo aresha. The brisa is talking about the chen beguma, going back on the resha, that if it's asara tfachim deep, then it has a din if a Rishus HaYachid.